Good to be with you today. Thank you for being with me. And on this presentation that I've put together here, this is really something that's close to my heart. A little over 20 years ago, I started this research effort, and I was corresponding with a man named Jack D. Pickett. Some of you might know who this man is, but he has a very interesting story. I basically devoted 2 years of my life trying to verify this story. Something very interesting, something close to my heart. In a nutshell, Jack D. Pickett, retired naval combat veteran, was stationed at McDill Air Force Base near Tampa back in September 1967, and he claims to have seen 4 U.S. Air Force jet flying wing disc aircraft at the base scrapyard. Now, these things measured 20, 40, 70, and 116 feet across in diameter. And he was provided photographs. They were going to go to a publication. This is going to be a worldwide exclusive. And at the last second, the U.S. Air Force pulled the plug on the whole article, and it never happened. He got a chance to walk around these aircraft. He actually kicked the tires on these aircraft. He saw the officially stamped U.S. Air Force photographs of these craft in flight, in formation. These were 8x10 black and white glossy photographs. He saw the motion picture film reels of these aircraft. These were classified top secret. He saw the evidence that we need to move this field forward in a classified library upstairs at McDill Air Force Base. Now, I've tried to confirm this story, and I have to say that I could never pin it down completely. However, I got a second independent witness that I'm going to talk about tonight who claims to have seen the same aircraft at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base back in 1978. So I'm going to walk you through this case. I'm going to show you the drawings, the illustrations, the documented evidence. I'm going to show you all of my mistakes so you see the legacy and the entire process of getting these drawings vetted out properly and signed off by Jack Pickett. So let's go ahead and begin here. The story begins at McDill Air Force Base back September 1967. And I want to start out with this here. Again, we need all hands on deck on this one. I need everyone to help me find the last remaining U.S. Air Force pilots that were stationed at McDill Air Force Base near Tampa back in September 1967. We need to confirm if this story is true. The visual aids used in this presentation are computer-generated forensic composite illustrations based off the written and verbal instructions and drawing corrections from Jack D. Pickett. So I'm not claiming these are actual U.S. Air Force photographs. We just did the best we could with the information we had. All right, so here is Jack. I met with him 20 years ago. He was a very polite man, a kind man. And over this 2-year process, I would send him a drawing, and then he would send me back corrections with letters and notes and correspondence. And he bled all over my drawings. You know, this was wrong. Landing gear was wrong. The flaps were wrong. The vertical stable was wrong. The insignia was wrong. I mean, this guy let me know when I did not do this correctly. He would not sign off on this until it was absolutely perfect to his specifications. So just want to let you know that I did not get off easy on this, and you're going to see all my mistakes so that you see the entire process here. He was stationed on the USS Miller destroyer during World War II. This is the photograph that I sent him, and then he sent me back these notes. And I'm not going to read all of this, but let me just read what it is over here on the right-hand side. It says, I was loader on this 40 millimeter at this location. They evidently removed that gun mount on both sides. So he was over here on the port side of the destroyer, loading these 40 millimeters. So that's where he was stationed. He was a retired U.S. naval combat veteran. That's who this gentleman is. Now, I've moved to the next slide here. So this is an aerial photograph of McDill Air Force Base taken back in 1969. And if you look at the beginning of runway 23, this is kind of midway up through the center of this photograph here, you'll see an arrow. According to Jack Pickett, that's where the scrapyard was back in September 1967. So I'm going to zoom in here. Let's get a little bit closer. I could not get an aerial photograph taken of McDill Air Force Base back in September 1967. I tried all over the place, everywhere. So if someone might have some historical photographs, or they knew someone that was based there, or they were based there and they have photographs, please let me know. I've got my email at the back of this. So let's zoom in here a little bit closer. Arrow indicates what we believe to be the scrapyard at MacDill Air Force Base at the beginning of runway 23. And if we go one more further, now you can see what it looks like. This is 2024. This is very current. So if you see where the tree line curves over, that's where the base scrapyard was back in 67, according to Jack Pickett. Let me move a little bit forward here. So he was with his publication associate, a man by the name of Harold Baker, and they were driving down the perimeter road, which I've got on a leader arrow here that shows you where they were. They stopped their car. He got up on the hood of the car and was looking over the chain link fence, and he saw 4 U.S. Air Force jet flying wing disc aircraft parked at the base scrapyard. This is the drawing I put together based on his descriptions. Now they measure 20, 40, 70, 116 feet in diameter. They all had tricycle landing gear. They had control surfaces wrapped around the outer circumference of the disc itself. The pilot's compartment was dead center on the disc itself, and then there was a tapering canopy that went all the way back to a large vertical stabilizer at the back end of the craft. These were jet-powered discs. On the left side, there was the bar and star insignia, and then over to the right, top view looking down, it said U.S. Air Force. So that's what these things look like. Now, from Jack's perspective, this is what they would have looked like. Actually, it should be a mirror image, but just to give you an idea what it looked like from the perspective of him standing on his car over the chain link fence. So again, 20, 40, 70. The large one was 116 feet in diameter. This was an intercontinental bomber, 4-engine. This thing had an absolutely huge vertical stabilizer at the back. On all the craft, it was marked experimental without the E. It was experimental U.S. Air Force. And on this large one that you can see here in this drawing that I put together, there's 4 exhaust ports at the aft end of the craft itself on the bottom. So this just gives you an idea what it looked like from his perspective. I'm going to do a check-in here. Roger Murray, good to be with you here. Who else is with us? Jordan Simpson, Intergalactic Angler. Hello. Let's see, who else is here? Uncle Nene, thank you for your videos. Thank you. John Grubb, good to be with you. Who else is with us? Jordan Simpson, thank you. Avrocar, no, it's not the Avrocar. Some people think it is, but it's not. This is something completely different than the Avrocar. All right, so let's see here. Okay, let me go back to where we are now. Now, this is one of Jack's original drawings here. And you can see that it's very early. It's very rough. He did a good job. He did a good job. But this kind of gives you an idea. It's hard to see this, but this is his original sketch. The small one was 20 feet in diameter. It had an air intake on either side of the pilot's compartment. And again, this crew compartment swept back with this long spine that terminated in a large vertical stabilizer. So this is the 20-foot disc. This is a little bit more of a cleaned up drawing from Jack. Shows you the experimental. You've got the U.S. Air Force tricycle landing gear, top view looking down. You can see the control surfaces. And now this is from the American Heritage Center. Want to give them credit. Now this is my cleaned up, refined, certified drawing that Jack had signed off on. This took a long time to put together. Max speed approximately 620 miles an hour, 2 turbojet engines, range 1,200 miles, ceiling about 52,000 feet. We believe first flight was 1949. Now, I think it's built by Douglas Aircraft Corporation. I'm almost certain of it. I can't prove it completely, but I believe that Douglas Aircraft Corporation was involved in this craft right here. So this is the final revised drawing here. Now, here is the letter from Jack Pickett dated August 26, 2002. It says, your illustration, Flying Saucers for Real, ultra top secret U.S. Air Force jet flying wing disc. Mike, I have your above illustration dated August 23, 2002. You having drawn it under most difficult circumstances via letters and telephone conversations have succeeded far beyond any other hand-drawn illustration I have seen since I personally viewed the actual disc aircraft still stationed at McDill Air Force Base in late 1967. Because of your personal effort, this will serve as my own authorization for you to use your illustration dated August 23rd, 2002, exceptionally authentic, as part of your ongoing project concerning any way you wish. If you will furnish me a copy of your proposed written account concerning this aircraft using factual information I have also provided you, I will, upon receipt, consider furnishing you with my personal authorization for your use also herein. Okay, so bottom line is he signed off on the drawing. We did an article later on that also is now part of the historical legacy. Now, this drawing went all the way to the top. I was happy. It went all the way to the top. Fantastic-plastic.com by Alan Urey, who's the CEO of this company. If you want to build this jet historic aircraft, we went all the way to the top, and there's a vacuum form kit model that you can build. They're relatively inexpensive. Here's what the craft looks like, all finished. You can see the bubble transparent canopy. He did a really good job on the seams of the aluminum skin, flight controls, the star and bars, the insignia. He's got the experimental on there, the vertical stabilizer. Let me do another view here. Side view showing you the tricycle landing gear. And if we do an aft view, now you can see what this thing looks like from the side. But again, this is just a model if you or the kids want to put this thing together. Let's move on. Now, when he was at McDill Air Force Base and he saw these craft, he spoke to the adjutant general, who gave him access to walking around these aircraft. He kicked the tires on the large craft. Now, that large one, which was 116 feet in diameter, the landing gear hydraulics had partially collapsed and the tires were flat. So this thing was leaning to port about 10 degrees. He was furnished photographs of these aircraft in flight, in formation. Here you see it with the F-84 Thunderjet straight wing jet fighter interceptor. So this is Jack's representation of what the photographs look like. So this would be a top view looking down on the disc in formation. So he saw hundreds of photographs. These were officially stamped photographs of these aircraft in flight at this classified library at McDill Air Force Base. Some of the photographs had, this is a recreation of what they look like. These discs flying in formation, the 20-foot diameter disc-shaped craft flying in formation. Some of them had all the sizes kind of lined up with F-80 Shooting Star flying in formation. These are, per his memory, what these photographs look like. And then there were F-84 F Thunderstreak swept-wing jet fighter interceptors flying in formation with the disc craft itself. So these were really designed to give people an idea of what these look like. And they had official stamped U.S. Air Force on the backside. So these were actual photographs here. There is a library at McDill Air Force Base, at least back in 1967. There did exist a library there. If we could get access to that library, we would move this whole field way forward. Absolutely. All right, now, this is Jack's original drawing of the larger 116-foot diameter disc-shaped craft, multiple crew member. This was an intercontinental bomber, 4-engine. Now, here's where it gets a little bit hairy. He said that these things could fly so fast and so high as to achieve space flight. That's very high. Now, I can't confirm that because at a certain altitude, your engine's going to flame out. After 65, 75,000 feet, there must be something going on here. But I'm just recording what Jack had said prior to. Let's move on to the next one. Here's a little bit more of a refined drawing of the larger 116-foot craft. Now, take a look at the bizarre landing gear on this thing. The nose gear on this thing had a ridiculous amount of landing gear wheels, and so did the main landing. So that was something that he stressed, and he absolutely made it clear that this is what this craft has to look like to be historically correct. Again, American Heritage Center gets credit. So here is the refined drawing. And if you count the wheels here, there's a tremendous amount of bogies, as they say. on the tricycle landing gear and also on the nose gear, an absolute ridiculous amount. So this thing was a heavy intercontinental bomber. You could walk under this thing. Jack Pickett kicked the tires of this. Let me go over the specifications here. 116 foot in diameter, 629 speed, 4 turbojet engines, range 3,000 miles, crew 5 to 7, ceiling 60,000 feet, first flight 1949. Again, Douglas Aircraft Corporation, I believe, was the contractor, because he said that it looked like someone took a cargo Douglas aircraft, chopped off the fuselage, and then plopped that right down again. So it appears that all roads lead to Douglas aircraft initially for these original classified U.S. Air Force jet flying wing disc aircraft. Let's move on. Now, from the bottom, it had a bomb bay, and then you've got these massive landing gears, tricycle and mains, and then exhaust ports with thrust vectoring vanes embedded within the exhaust ports. He mentioned that specifically as he was walking under this craft. Now, this just gives you an idea of what I received from Jack. Now, this is over a 2-year time period. You can see the back and forth and the mistakes and corrections and revisions that he wanted. I mean, this guy just bled over all my drawings. He let me know it when I was wrong. And I just want to show you the process we went through. So let me go over a couple of these here. Cabin too high, okay? Curve intakes on Harrier. Still too thick, but corrected inverted shapes here. And then cabin is too wide for this size illustration. Visibly quite larger tire. So you can see all the mistakes that he wanted me to correct. And this went on for months. This went on for months and weeks of this back and forth. I finally pinned this thing down. All right, so this was the very first pass illustration I did with my good friend Chuck Biddlecombe. After getting Jack Pickett to sign off on this, we started putting this together in SolidWorks. And these are the very first original design illustrations of what this thing looked like here. You can see this big vertical stabilizer at the back, and then these air intakes on either side of the pilot's compartment. Now, just after the port windshield, there was a crew compartment egress hatch to get into this thing. This thing was massive. This was a monster of an aircraft. Side view, again, illustration by Chuck Biddlecombe. We put this together. Want to give him credit. Let's move on here to the next one. And this is the aircraft. This is a little bit of a 20-degree isometric view showing you what these bogies look like and this massive landing gear configuration. Let's do a quick check-in here. Uncle Nene, let's see, Larvae, William Milburn High, Intergalactic Angler. I think I remember seeing similar military aircraft in other videos. Jordan Simpson. Okay, Roger Murray, I'm Cold. Look like the hovercraft from Destroy All Humans. Crypto Alchemist, great work. Thank you. Roger Milburn, Michael, you are the best ever. Thank you very much. Okay, let's continue on here. All right, so this is another one. I want to give credit to Gino Marcomini. I had people from all around the world help me in this research project. I want to give them credit. So Gino Marcomini did this illustration. Now you can see how big this thing was, 116 feet in diameter. If you want to really get an idea of what this thing looks like, just do the radius in a little stake in the ground and pay out the appropriate feet in length on a string and then just walk around. You'll see how big this thing is. Huge vertical stabilizer at the back. Now, he said that the vertical stabilizer was higher than the lights in the mall parking lots. That's how big this thing was. He also said that it had definitely landing gear bay doors within the landing gear on the bottom of the craft itself. Let's move on. Now, this is about an eye view level showing you some of the bottom components. It definitely had this hydraulic section on the front landing gear that looked like it came off the supersonic Concorde. This long landing gear strut for the nose gear. That's something that was talked about as well. All right, here it is in flight over Edwards Air Force Base. Again, Gino Marcomini, want to give him credit. You can see the flight controls. You can see this long section that tapers to the vertical stabilizer at the back end of the aircraft. Now, some of the aircraft had the large craft in formation with F-86 Sabre jets as well. This is something that he talked about multiple times. So I don't know if this was a promotional flight or they just wanted to have these for historical records, but there were multiple photographs showing these in different configurations with different jet fighter interceptors. Absolutely many different photographs. Here it is taking off from Edwards Air Force Base with a F-84F Thunderstreak. Okay, let's move on. Now, I had a model built of the large one, and this was kind of the first pass of what this thing may have looked like. I'm going to do a side view. This is about a 20-degree view looking down. You can see the flight controls. You can see the egress system. You've got the air intakes here and experimental. The E actually shouldn't be there. And then the vertical stabilizer. Just kind of a first pass. Now, this is another illustration of the 20-foot diameter dish-shaped craft by Gino Marconi being towed over the dry lake bed at Edwards Air Force Base. Now we're getting really close to what the actual photographs may have looked like. I'm going to move forward to the next one. Here it is in flight over Edwards Air Force Base. And we'll continue to the next one. And again, I want to mention that this is a computer-generated forensic composite illustration. This is not a real photograph. I don't want anyone to be confused that I'm passing this off as a legitimate photograph. We just did the best we could with what we have to give people an idea of what these craft actually look like. Illustration by Gino Marconi. So you've got the 40-foot disc up front, and then the 116-foot diameter dish-shaped craft at the back. So these craft were big. These craft were large. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this is the moment that I've been waiting for. Jack Pickett is no longer with us, so we're carrying the flame for Jack Pickett. All these legacy witnesses now, they're passing away. It is imperative that we track these people down before it's gone and their memory is gone. So this is the declassification ceremony of the 20-foot diameter dish-shaped craft, illustration by Gino Marconi. I wish this would happen. I hope this happens. And we can move this to the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. This needs to happen. We need all hands on deck now. So I want to give you some of the documentation that Jack Pickett was involved in. Now, he was a one-man show. After he left publishing NCO Club newsletter, he put together a crusade to try to get these aircraft declassified. He wrote to McDill Air Force Base. He wrote to the Department of Defense. He wrote to Offutt Air Force Base. He wrote all around the Pentagon, everyone he could think of to try to get these aircraft declassified. This is just one example. So this is Jack Pickett letter 11-282 to Richard Stevenson, Department of the Air Force, Headquarters Strategic Air Command, Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska, 2 November 82. Jack Pickett, Mr. Pickett, we regret we are unable to provide the information you requested in your letter of October 21st, 1982. Neither the Strategic Air Command Office that deals with new aircraft nor this office is familiar with the dish-shaped aircraft mentioned in your letter. It's so sad because he sent sketches, he sent drawings, very detailed letters about what these craft look like, and no one could help him. We never were able to get this declassified. That's why we need everyone's help to chime in and try to get these birds dislodged. Here's another one. Letter to Mark Goldstein from Jack Pickett, 4182, courtesy American Heritage Center. Jack Pickett, dear Mr. Pickett, thank you very much for your recent letter requesting information about an experimental aircraft you allege was once housed here. This is from McDill Air Force Base. Careful research by several people have been unable to turn up any information on the aircraft you say were here. It has been recommended you write to the Air Force Alfred E. Simpson Historical Research Center, Maxwell Air Force Base. Be advised, however, that the amount of time needed to research this subject may be lengthy. Best of luck on your research, Mark C. Goldstein. So again, so much time has gone by. Jack Pickett was never able to get these aircraft declassified, put into a museum, or even to get the photographs declassified or the motion picture film reel. So it falls upon us now to carry his torch so that we can land this plane to completion and get this bird dislodged. Now, the story does not end there. I tracked down this gentleman. This is World War II pilot P-40. This is Warren Botts, and he flew in the Pacific Theater. He was a P-40 Warhawk pilot, and he claims to have seen the exact same craft that Jack Pickett had seen in 1967. He saw it at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base back in 1978. He was with a reunion of P-40 Warhawk pilots, and I'm going to move forward here. I actually did an interview with this gentleman, and he said that there was a bus that went to the Air Force Museum and then took them to Hangar Complex number 4, which what you see right here. They stopped the bus, they got off and walked through bays A, B, C, D, and E. Now, E is the one that has the arrow that's in the back. Now, there was a connecting doorway that allowed them to walk through all these hangar bays. So let's go to the next slide here. Here's the photograph I took when I was able to get access to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Here's Hangar Complex number 4. Let's go to Bay E, which is this one. Now, notice the little notch that they have on the upper part of this round Quonset-style hut. This is important because Warren Botts said that there was something that they used that integrated with this little hatchway here. And he said that the tail on the large 116-foot craft was way too large. So they had to build a ramp to tip this thing up that brought the tail down, and then they trundled the whole thing into the hangar. This is something that Warren Botts had mentioned. Now, here's the walkway that they used to get to the last hangar, which is the E hangar of Hangar Complex number 4. And this thing was parked there. He confirmed the exhaust ports. He confirmed the very large tricycle landing gear strut and all the bogies that looked like something on the SST. This landing strut was very large. He walked under this thing. He was challenged by a guard and told to leave immediately. But he did see this back in 1978. So I want to put this out. If you or someone you know has had firsthand experience associated with the design, construction, test flight, photography, or scrapping of these U.S. Air Force jet flying wing discs at McDill Air Force Base, at Edwards Air Force Base, or anywhere else where these craft have been seen, please let me know. This is my email, auroracad5@aol.com. We need all hands on deck. We need everybody's assistance to try to get these aircraft declassified. And if you want my 18-page fully illustrated report on this entire case, McDill Air Force Base, the library, all the photographs that you've seen here, all the illustrations, all the drawings, all the recreations, all of Jack's comments, everything in one concise article, hit me up on this email. I'll be glad to send you the PDF free of charge. And let's do a final check-in of everybody here. Hi, UFO friends. John Grubb. This is a picture of this, I think. Yeah, I wish it was. Alien Girl 111. Hi, Bernie. Aliens. Fantastic plastic. Okay, we got a link there. That's good. McDill is 30 minutes away from me. Yes, intergalactic angler. Good to be with you. Let's keep moving on here. Nikki Starchild, 40-foot disc. Ron Boss, hey. Roger Murray, okay. Intergalactic angler. Thanks a lot for the help. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Mark Zehemmer, thank you very much for the super chat. Solar Marshall. Dan, good to be with you, brother. Okay. I'd do this for free. I'd do it for free because this is a crusade. Hypersonic pancake. Yeah, that's a good. I like that. I like that. Jordan Simpson. Wow, a mechanic of this could tell us a lot. Yeah, a mechanic. We do need a mechanic to chime in. Definitely. Good morning from Dubai. Colin, good to be with you. Absolutely. Looks very realistic. I hope so. We did the best we could. Remember Gordon Cooper's interview. This is Moody Mongol, where he mentioned a saucer with landing gear landing at an Air Force. I do know that. That's in 57. That's a different bird, but very good point. Breakfast 2, dropping the knowledge. Michael Schratt. Yes. Schratt is the GOAT. Sir Hale, thank you. I'm still humble. I'm still small fries. Let's get Roger Murray. Good. Tim Freestone. Was it only door like that? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Smash the like button. Jordan Simpson, hangar 18 at Wright-Pat. No, it wasn't hangar 18. It was hangar number 4, Bay E, we believe. Hi from England. John P. Adventures, much love. Good. Tim Freestanch, John Peace. Great investigation. Great. We'll do a couple more here. Solar Marshall. Yeah, Dan, I got you, brother. Martin Jackson, pray hands. Thank you. Okay, so again, thanks so much. If you want the PDF file free of charge, hit me up on this email. I'll shoot it to you. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Like, share, and subscribe.